I never imagined that a simple dinner invitation would turn into a moment I'd carry with me for the rest of my life. My name is Karen Mitchell, a 46-year-old single mother of two. Life had always kept me on my toes, raising my children alone, working 2 jobs, and trying my best to give them the world. My eldest son, Nathan, had just turned 24 and had landed a promising job at a prestigious real estate firm in downtown Chicago. He was finally building a life of his own. He seemed happy, and that meant everything to me. Nathan spoke often of his new boss, Daniel Blake. A man in his early 40s, Daniel was described as intelligent, polished, and the kind of mentor every young employee dreams of. Nathan looked up to him. He would come home with stories about Daniel's leadership, the way he carried himself, and how he gave Nathan his first real shot to shine. I listened with pride, never expecting that one day I'd meet the man myself, under such complicated circumstances. It all started with a phone call one Thursday afternoon. I had just returned from the grocery store when my phone rang. It was an unknown number. I hesitated before answering. "Hello," said. "Hi, is this Karen Mitchell?" The voice on the other end asked, firm yet warm. "Yes, speaking. This is Daniel Blake, Nathan's boss." My heart jumped slightly, unsure of what this could be about. I straightened my voice, masking my confusion. "Oh, yes, hello, Mr. Blake. Is Nathan okay?" He chuckled softly. "Yes, of course. Nothing serious. In fact, I wanted to speak with you privately if that's all right. I wanted to meet you." Pause. "Meet me? May I ask what for?" "It's about Nathan's future with the company. I believe he's got real potential, and I'd like to discuss a few things with you in person. Confidentially. Strictly professional, I promise. If you're available for dinner tomorrow evening, I can make a reservation." I should have declined. Felt strange, even a little inappropriate. But something about the way he spoke, so direct yet respectful, made me curious. I agreed. The next night, I wore a modest navy blue dress. Nothing flashy. I wasn't trying to impress anyone. I just wanted to look presentable. The restaurant was upscale but not overbearing, nestled in a quieter part of the city. When I arrived, Daniel was already there, standing near the entrance in a charcoal gray suit with no tie. He greeted me with a smile and extended his hand. His handshake was firm but not intimidating. "Thank you for meeting me," he said, guiding me to our table. "I know this is unusual." I nodded politely. That's one word for it. The dinner started formally enough. He complimented Nathan's work ethic, his drive, and how quickly he was learning the ropes. I beamed with pride, sipping my water slowly as I listened. "He's one of the most promising young hires we've had in years," Daniel said. "And I wanted to personally meet the woman who raised him." That caught me off guard. I tilted my head. "You invited me out just for that?" His smile turned a little softer. "Not entirely." He admitted that he had seen me once, months ago, when he dropped Nathan off at our house after a late client meeting. I hadn't even noticed him in the car. But he remembered me. "I don't usually do things like this," he said, lowering his voice just slightly. "But I wanted to know more about the person behind the young man I see growing each day." There was something in the way he looked at me that made me shift in my seat. His gaze wasn't predatory. It wasn't aggressive. It was sincere, but complicated. I should have ended it there. I should have thanked him for dinner, made some polite excuse, and walked away. But I didn't. The evening lingered into a second glass of wine. Then a third. We talked about our lives, our children, our regrets. I found out Daniel was divorced too, without children, and he confessed that he often buried himself in work to escape the loneliness of his empty apartment. "I envy you," he said, swirling his drink. "You built something. You raised someone like Nathan. I've built companies, but never a family." The way he said it made my heart ache. I understood that feeling too well. I had spent years focusing on my kids, never really letting anyone else in, not since my divorce. And yet, here was this man, successful and admired, quietly craving something more than boardrooms and big deals. After dinner, he walked me to my car. The wind was cool, brushing my shoulders. I turned to thank him, ready to end the night there. But then he stepped a little closer. "I'm sorry if this feels forward," he said quietly, "but I've thought about this moment more than I should." I stood frozen, heart racing. And then, without thinking, I kissed him. It wasn't wild or rushed. It was tender, emotional. We both pulled away quickly, breathless from the weight of what we'd just done. I couldn't speak. Neither could he. "I shouldn't have done that," I whispered, stepping back. "No," he agreed. "But I'm glad we did." I drove home that night trembling, replaying the moment over and over in my mind. Barely slept. My chest was tight with guilt, not just because of Nathan, but because I knew something had shifted inside me. And I couldn't take it back. The next morning, I avoided my son's eyes. He was cheerful, chatting about work, oblivious to what had happened the night before. I smiled where I could, nodded when I needed to, but my mind was somewhere else entirely. A week passed. Then another. Daniel didn't call. I didn't expect him to. Whatever happened between us, it wasn't something we could repeat. Still, part of me hoped he'd reach out again. And part of me prayed he wouldn't. It wasn't until Nathan came home early one Friday that the silence finally broke. "Mom," he said, standing in the living room, holding his phone. "Did you meet with Daniel recently?" Froze. "What makes you ask that?" He hesitated. "He asked me today if I knew you were as brilliant and composed in person as I made you sound." I didn't know what to say. I swallowed hard. "We had dinner. He said he wanted to talk about your future." It was professional. Nathan tilted his head. "Is there something I should know?" "No," I said too quickly. Nothing happened. But something had happened. Something that couldn't be undone. A line had been crossed. A line I never thought I would even approach. I told myself it was a one-time lapse in judgment, a lonely moment shared between two equally lonely people. But that didn't erase it. Weeks turned into months. Daniel and I never spoke again. Nathan continued to thrive at work, eventually earning a promotion and leading his own team. He remained proud of his boss, and I kept my secret. Every now and then, I'd hear Daniel's name in passing, or see it on an email Nathan forgot to log out of. My stomach would twist, a mix of memory and regret. I had done something I couldn't take back. Not physically, not in a scandalous way, but emotionally. I crossed a line with a man connected to my son. I blurred boundaries that should have stayed firm. And I lived with it. That night, that kiss, that moment, it changed something in me. It reminded me that I was still a woman. Still capable of being seen, wanted, understood. But it also taught me that not all connections are meant to last. Some are fleeting, intense, and beautifully painful. And some are better left as secrets we carry in silence. I still think about him sometimes. I wonder if he does too. But I know now that some things are better left undone.